Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello, I'm DK Singh. In this episode of Politically Correct, I'm going to talk about how the BJP, world's largest party, has let down the Prime Minister when he has to deal with farmers' agitation. Before that, let me talk about what the Prime Minister spoke in the Rajya Sabha. Now, he coined some new words like Andolan Jeevi, that is professional protesters, Paras Jeevi, that parasites, and he gave a new definition of FDI, foreign direct investment. He said, beware of foreign destructive ideology. Obviously, he was referring to some controversial tweets coming from foreign soils, but he may be right. My question is, how come just a handful of these so-called professional agitators or professional protesters or some, people tweeting something from abroad, I mean, how come they have been able to virtually torpedo a very ambitious reform measure that this government took, like rolling out 3 farm laws? As it is, the government is ready to suspend it for 18 months. I have discussed it earlier, like 18 months means like it's going to be as good as dead, because after that you will be facing elections. So what has gone wrong? And that's why, that brings me to the question, where is the BJP today? Now, if you look at the membership, now what they claim, like last year, what JP Nadda was telling us, that the BJP has got 18 crore members across the country. 18 crores. Now, way back in 2015, BJP had surpassed the Communist Party of China to become the world's largest party. And today, the number of members stands at 18 crores. It's a huge number. That means you have your party cadres, karyakartas in every nook and corner of the country. And we have heard so much about, the BJP becoming or being such a well-oiled electoral machine, well-oiled electoral juggernaut. They have booth-level workers, they have panna pramukhs, they have mandal pramukhs and whatnot. And they have been a formidable force when it comes to contesting elections. You see how they have been mobilizing people in every village, election after election. But when it comes to farmers' agitation, suddenly all of them seem to have vanished. If their numbers, if the 18 crore, that number is correct, where are these people now? In every village in Haryana, in Punjab, in Western Uttar Pradesh, you see this mobilization, but you don't really see any counter-mobilization from the BJP at the grassroots level. So the Prime Minister cannot be going to every village and convincing people that, okay, these laws are right. Because of course, even if some misinformation campaign is on about those laws, now you need people, you need your party workers to go door to door and convince people what are the good things in these laws. Prime Minister speaking from Parliament is fine. Prime Minister giving a speech from somewhere is fine. But then there are some genuine apprehensions which need to be addressed. And the PM speaking from here is not good enough. He needs his party workers on the ground to help him spread his message. As you see, nothing is happening. Now, in the last episode, I spoke about how Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar is looking kind of, completely out of depth. Now, let me look at the MPs. In Punjab, for instance, because Punjab BJP does not have many MPs in Punjab, it has just 2. You have Som Prakash, the Union Minister Som Prakash from Hoshiarpur, and then you have Sunny Deol from Gurdaspur. Where are they? You see the kind of mobilization that is happening in Punjab. Now, all that you have heard from these 2 MPs is, okay, we are with the farmers and we are with the party. And all the problems will be resolved. That's about it. Some perfunctory statement, and that's all. Come to Haryana. In Haryana, you have, in the last cabinet, in the first term of Modi, he picked up this Jat leader, Chaudhry Birendra Singh. He's a big Jat leader. He was in the Congress, defected to the BJP, he became a cabinet minister. And after that, obviously he was sent to the Rajya Sabha, and then in 2019, his son was actually picked up by the BJP as its candidate, as its Lok Sabha candidate. He's an MP today, Brijendra Singh. And Brijendra Singh has been a bit critical, basically saying that it should have been handled better, but these laws are good. You look at Chaudhry Birendra Singh, he has been blaming Khattar government that, okay, if there were apprehensions, the state government should have actually talked with the people before these bills were passed by the parliament. they have spoken, they have taken their stand, fine, you may or may not agree with them. But point is, where are the other 9 MPs? If you remember, the BJP swept all the 10 seats in 10 Lok Sabha seats in Haryana in 2019. You don't really see any MPs anywhere, while this kind of mobilization is happening in Haryana. Look at Western Uttar Pradesh. I mean, Western Uttar Pradesh, during Muzaffarnagar riots in 2013, you had this new leader suddenly coming up. That was Sanjeev Kumar Balyan. He went on to become the BJP's candidate in the Lok Sabha from Muzaffarnagar, and then he was inducted in the Modi government as a minister. Looking at his potential as a Jat leader, as a young Jat leader, he won in 2019 again. He continues to be a minister, but where is he now? All that he has done so far is he has just given a statement that these protests have been hijacked by anti-social elements. That's about it. So when you see thousands of people coming up in Muzaffarnagar for Khap Panchayats or in the other Jat areas in Western UP, you do not see any BJP leader coming out there on the ground and trying to counter it or trying to explain things to people. Now in Western UP, which has about 25-26 Lok Sabha seats, out of that BJP has 15 to 16. In fact, if I remember it correctly, opposition parties have just about 7 MPs in Western UP. And the rest are all with the BJP, which includes 5 Jat MPs. Have you heard of it? Heard of them? Have you heard anything from them? They are nowhere on the ground. And that's why I'm talking about the failure of the world's largest party in giving support to the Prime Minister when he needs it most. Because the entire fight is about narrative. This is the battle of perception. Because facts are not being talked about. Everybody agrees that these farm laws are good. It will go a long way in supplementing farmers' income, giving them more options. Everybody agrees. But if you see the thousands of people who are coming out on the roads, thousands of people who are agitating at Delhi borders, in Singhu, Tikri, in Ghazipur, it's not just the so-called professional protesters who are behind all this. There are some genuine apprehensions. And the party had to come out in the field and actually try to dissuade them from going this way by convincing them of the merits of these laws. But the party is not to be seen on the ground. Let me add a few things. The party did have some plans. Initially, what we were told last month, I think in the first week, what we were told, that the BJP will be organizing 700 press conferences across the country to spread the message, the PM's message, or what the PM wanted to for the farmers. Then they were going to do chopals, like, sitting in villages and talking with farmers. All these plans were rolled out. We have seen nothing worked, because the swelling crowd at Ghazipur or all the other places tells you that none of those programs actually got rolled out the way they should have. Again, you talk to BJP leaders, they say, okay, we are going to talk to Khap Panchayat members now, we are going to kind of engage the Khaps in discussions over farm laws, but they are all in planning stage. So what you see all these top BJP leaders making speeches in poll-bound states, in West Bengal, Kerala, Assam, everywhere, as if they had nothing to do with the agitation here, and it's the government's headache. And that's a big disappointment for the government. But even in the government, look at the way, I wonder if you have heard the speeches of all the ministers or the party members in parliament. Again, on expected lines, praise Modi, condemn the opposition, that they are responsible for all this. Now, the other day, I was hearing Dharmendra Pradhan, the petroleum minister in the Rajya Sabha, he says, मैं आपको तथ्य बता रहा हूँ, मन की बात नहीं कर रहा. And whatever he means, I'm not getting into that. But of course, there were data and figures that he presented. Okay, we bought this much ethanol, we did this, we did that. And after that, this usual thing. Just because our Prime Minister is the son of a chaiwala, people born with silver spoons, they cannot digest this fact. And they are creating all the troubles. Almost on predictable lines, you see other ministers, other BJP MPs, everybody was taking the same line. You just praise Modi, your job is done. The Prime Minister must be thinking actually what has happened. Has he created paper tigers in the government and in the party? And it looks like, when you see the field completely left open for other elements, those who are against the farm laws, you actually start thinking like this party has become an outfit of paper tigers. And probably the Prime Minister is also responsible for that, because somewhere he had to give a hard message that praising me is not good enough. Don't try to become DK Barua. You remember Devkant Barua of the Congress? He was the Congress president, say between 75 and 77. Now it was his infamous statement, Indira is India and India is Indira. I think the BJP leaders today are trying to imitate him, because every time you talk to them, it's all about Modi, Modi, Modi is BJP, BJP is Modi. And they are virtually saying that Modi is India and India is Modi. But that's not good enough for the Prime Minister, because he also knows, right after Indira Gandhi lost power, DK Barua was one of the first leaders to jump ship. So all these people who you are hearing from BJP and from the government side today, just praising Modi, keeping themselves away from the field. You don't really see them anywhere in the field. Prime Minister somewhere, Prime Minister and actually Home Minister Amit Shah, they need to sit back and think what they have created. Are these the leaders they wanted to groom? And are these the leaders who are going to take the BJP forward in future? Thank you.